This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
The Punga's inauguration halts at the red signal from the Environment Ministry, but could alliance politics have triggered Dr. Manmohan Singh's opting out? But is the proposed biggest eco-park straying over restricted territory? We profile the Punga. A day's visit by the Election Commission, and there could be a lot considered, but the body warns of a harsh crackdown on money distribution.
This time you will find that there will be a very tight money control.
Meanwhile, Jayalalitha has plenty on her agenda at this assembly polls. She is in conversation with more than a single party for partnership.
Our demand for a JPC stands.
And an international touchdown at Guangzhou and New Delhi, Chennai's Buji hopes to raise his bar.
I think I've put in a lot of hard work, so I'm going to try and get better, try and improve, and hopefully crack the top 75, top 50 by the end of the year.
This is the late night news on NDTV Hindu with me, Evelyn Matthew. Let's also take a quick scan of the national top stories. The Sri Krishna report, which reaches the hands of the centre, which will be made public on the 6th of January. Chidambaram calls political parties for a meeting. Has the PAC chairman fallen in line with his party over the 2G probe? After meeting his boss, Joshi says he's committed to demand for a JPC. After the CBI's closure report, the heartbroken parents of Arushi Talwar say they will not give up their fight for justice. Post the public snail mail was the Home Minister calls Bengal's Chief Minister for a meeting to discuss the situation in the state. And a finger injury forces punter out of the final Ashes test. Well, Mission Show Alliance strength is going awfully wrong for the DMK. The Deputy Chief Minister's pet project, Punga, has now hit a roadblock. The Environment Ministry has not given its clearance for the construction of the park, bringing the proposed high-profile inauguration on the 3rd of January to a halt. That means the Chief Minister and the Prime Minister will not be sharing stage, something that the DMK was looking forward to post the 2G fiasco. So is the Environment Ministry's no just a reason for the Congress to snub the DMK, or is the Punga just another tool in the hands of political parties to reach their ends? Well, that of course is the big question. Now, what is the topography of the Punga then? This eco-park on a wetland in the heart of Chennai, which was to have been DMK's showpiece in the new year. Why the sudden change of plan? Is the Punga really straying restricted territory? Why has this green endeavour met with a red signal? Cuckoo Alex brings you some of those answers.
Is Prime Minister Manmohan Singh avoiding the Punga inaugural in Chennai because of the politically charged scenario in the backdrop of Spectrum scam? Or is it purely a matter of environment clearance? Days before the official inauguration by the Prime Minister, it is official. He will not inaugurate the Punga, although he would still be sharing the dais with Karunanidhi at the Indian Science Congress event in Chennai on January 3rd. The Punga was Deputy Chief Minister Stalin's pet project. The Ministry of Environment and Forests says the area falls under Coastal Regulation Zone 1, while Tamil Nadu government claims it is CRZ 2. If it is the latter category, development activities are permitted. The Environment Ministry says it has asked the Tamil Nadu government to revert with full details. However, the project was begun 3 years ago, when the 58-acre area was a dump yard. Today, it is touted as Chennai's green lung, created at a cost of 15 crore rupees. The aim, to turn it into a green arbour.
It's been there as a dump site for decades, and the government has decided to convert this into an eco-restoration site.
The timing of the Environment Ministry is suspect, say some. But before you dismiss this as a technicality, here's what critics say. The eco-park cannot get a green signal when there are multiple problems within it.
The tide should reach right till the end of this Punga area. No serious effort has been taken to make that happen. There are two bottlenecks. The high tide is not really going through. The excavated debris has been dumped on the side. The taking before court is 90% of the creek would be restored as a wetland tidal creek. Right now, I don't think more than 40-50% has been cleared.
Whatever the reasons or concerns, the fact is the restoration project could not have started without a clearance to go ahead with it.
Whoever has executed this project with the knowledge that it is illegal project should be held accountable for this. But public money cannot now be justified for something that has been illegal. This is an illegal project, and we cannot continue to go on with this farce and put public money in something that is fundamentally wrong.
Experts say the Punga may turn into a haven for wetland birds, but the larger issue of the coastal regulation zone remains. In Chennai, Cuckoo Alex for NDTV Hindu.
So with the big no-no being signaled from the ministry 3 years after the project began, politically, is this a sign that the alliance is now on shaky ground?
The perfect photo opportunity of Chief Minister Karunanidhi sharing the dais with the Prime Minister in what is primarily a state government event is now lost to the DMK thanks to the Ministry of Environment and Forest. Such a show would have helped the DMK put on a show of alliance solidarity. It was something that the DMK was looking forward to post the 2G fiasco. In fact, come January, the DMK was all set to cement its ties with the Congress over acres of dumpyard land converted into the Adyar Punga. The past few weeks have seen a lot of uncertainty over the DMK-Congress alliance, thanks mainly to the 2G spectrum scam and Amma's not too subtle overtures to the Congress. Even Rahul Gandhi, on his visit to Tamil Nadu last week, studiously avoided meeting the grand old man of the DMK. With many dissenting voices within the Congress against an alliance with the DMK, the Prime Minister staying away from the Punga would be seen as an inauspicious sign by many. Is the Environment Ministry's no just a reason for the Congress to snub the DMK? Has the Punga turned into a convenient political tool? Whatever the dynamics, with Manmohan Singh set to visit Chennai on January 3rd, the original date for the Eco Park inaugural, the political stage in Tamil Nadu is interestingly set yet again. In Chennai, with Ragamalika Karthikeyan, this is Pratiksha for NDTV Hindu.
Well, in other news, banking on lessons learned from the recent Bihar polls, the Chief Election Commissioner has announced strict measures to curb instances of money distribution, one of which includes a mandate that every candidate should have a separate account for election expenses, which will be monitored by expenditure observers who will assess whether or not the cash flows are accounted for. Money for votes was a concern that all the political parties put forward to the Election Commission.
Well, almost every political party has their own TV channel, and since those who do not have channels have to stop their campaign at 10 o'clock, but through the TV channels the campaign goes on. How to create a level playing field, this is an issue which they have raised to us, and we will examine what are the steps which we can legally take. As I said, we have, for the first time, we implemented very new and detailed guidelines in Bihar, where I mentioned some of the highlights to you, like a separate bank account from which election expenditure will be incurred, so expenditure observers, expenditure micro observers, video surveillance teams, shadow registers. Even in fact in Bihar we came across 86 cases of paid news when notices were given.
So the elections in the state here come at a time when 4 other states, namely West Bengal, Assam and Kerala and the Union Territory of Puducherry, go to the polls. The poll scheduled for these states will be a deciding factor on whether or not single-phase elections would be held in Tamil Nadu. CEC S.Y. Qureshi said the common demand voiced by all the political parties was under consideration, but he also made it clear that even in this case of a single-phase poll, the results cannot be released in 3 days as the ruling government had demanded, but will be released only along with the election results of the other states that go to the polls.
ஒரே நாளில் நடத்தப்பட வேண்டும் என்பதுதான் எங்களுடைய அங்கே வேண்டுகோளாகவும் நாங்கள் வைத்திருக்கின்றோம். மின்னணுவில் பல்வேறு தவறுகள் நடப்பதை ஏற்கனவே மாண்புமிகு அம்மா அவர்கள் சுட்டிக்காட்டி அறிக்கையின் மூலம் சொல்லியிருக்கின்றார் என்ற வருத்தையும் சொல்லி பேலட் பேப்பர் முறை கொண்டு வரப்பட வேண்டும் என்ற கருத்தினையும் நாங்கள் அங்கே மெமரண்டமாக கொடுத்துருக்கோம்.
தமிழ்நாட்டில் ஒரே நாளில் தேர்தல் நடத்த வேண்டும் என்று வலியுறுத்தியிருக்கிறோம். தேர்தல் ஜனநாயக முறையில் அமைதியாகவும் சிறப்பாக நடைபெறுவதற்கு அனைத்து நடவடிக்கைகளையும் தேர்தல் ஆணையம் மேற்கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்றும் தெரிவித்திருக்கிறோம்.
And our reporter Christy Abraham told us about the warnings and the considerations that came out of the CEC's meet today.
The Election Commission is coming down hard on any political party that is involving itself with money distribution or buying votes for money. The reason being that this has been prevalent in polls before in Tamil Nadu, and this is something that all the political parties have voiced as a concern. Well, what they have planned out, as you've said, is that every candidate will be expected to have a single account maintained in order to run their expenses for the elections. Now, expenditure observers will be monitoring these accounts. There will be visual monitors on these accounts. Also, they will be looking at whether or not the amount spent on election expenses is coming from these accounts. That is one of the important things to be looked at over there. Another thing is about paid news. Another concern was that was put forward by a particular party, namely the BJP, was the fact that most of the political parties in Tamil Nadu have a media vehicle of their own, especially television channels, which go on with their political campaigns even after 10 o'clock. Now, that is something that has to be curbed. And the CEC has said that they will be looking at curbing that as well, at least putting a mechanism wherein there will be some stop to the campaigning post 10 p.m. Another thing that was a very crucial point that was raised was the fact that Latika Saran, the current DGP of Tamil Nadu, be removed, or at least her supervision be removed from the assembly polls in 2011. Now the CEC has taken note of that as well and will be taking some action into it.
Well, up ahead on the late night news, the calculations have begun in the AIA-DMK camp. Jayalalitha steps on the accelerator for the big showdown.